Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Sci-Fi Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen, and this week we're doing another tag video. This is called the Comic Book Tag, and this was created by The Bill Show from Broncojuggalo's channel. So check out both those guys, awesome YouTubers. And this was created in honor of the late, great Stan Lee, so rest in peace, Stan. And before we get started, I just want to say you guys might think I'm a little Marvel biased, and maybe I am to some extent. I do prefer Marvel comics over DC and Dark Horse and Image and stuff like that. I always felt Marvel was kind of more grounded in reality. Even though you're dealing with some people with superpowers, I always felt like, you know, they were set in real places like New York City and California and things like that. Whereas DC's always out in outer space with, you know, aliens from another planet and things like that. I mean, you have some of that in Marvel, of course, with Galactus and Thanos and Silver Surfer, but the main bulk of it, like the main heroes, are usually grounded in real places and dealing with real problems that we deal with in everyday life. But don't get me wrong, I love Superman, and I love Batman, and Wonder Woman, and the Justice League. I love all that stuff. So number one is, who is your favorite superhero? That, for me, is this guy right here, Spider-Man. Peter Parker, as created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. So Spider-Man's always been my favorite. My first comic book was a Spider-Man comic, you know, when I was a little kid. And I was hooked immediately. I just wanted to buy them every week and go to this comic book store every week and see what the newest Spider-Man was, you know. I always felt like he was a character I could relate to that had everyday problems, like money problems and girl problems. And I always loved the fact that even when he's fighting a deadly supervillain, not only is he trying to stop the villain, but he's trying to stop the damage that the villain is creating and saving the people on the ground from rubble coming down from a building collapsing, you know. And I like his moral values as well. And he has an awesome sense of humor, always wisecracking. I love that he's always trying to get inside the head of the supervillain by using psychological tactics, by making fun of them, you know, and cracking jokes. I love that. Number two is, who is your favorite anti-hero? That would be Wolverine for me, this guy right here. And, of course, in the movies, he's played by Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman does a fantastic job. I love him in the movies, and I love him in the comics. And yeah, he's definitely an anti-hero because he's not afraid to kill the bad guy if he has to, you know. And he's got those animalistic instincts, you know, because he does have the heightened animal senses of a Wolverine. And he's got the badass claws, you know, that are just deadly. And the guy's basically indestructible. He's got that adamantium skeleton. You can't kill him, you know. And number three is, who is your favorite villain? I got two answers for that. The first one would be the Joker, and that's a no-brainer, you know. The Joker is such a recognizable villain, the most recognizable villain in comic book history. And he's been portrayed very well in the movies by Jack Nicholson, of course, and Heath Ledger in the Dark Knight film. Awesome performances. And I love him in the comic, too. He's Batman's worst enemy, for sure. And, but for me in the comics, there is a villain I like better, and that is the Green Goblin. That's Spider-Man's ultimate nemesis. The thing I love about him is the fact that he's a fully functioning psychopath. Now, I love the fact that he can run a huge corporation like Oscorp, and he's brilliant, and he's incredibly smart, and during the day and then at night he's an insane villain, hell-bent, and has a burning hatred for Spider-Man who's trying to kill him, you know. He dresses up like a goblin and flies around on a glider, and I just love that he's a fully functioning psychopath. Number 4 is, who is the worst hero ever? For me, that's going to be Booster Gold from the DC Universe. I always thought he looked so lame, his outfit with the bright gold and the gold goggles, and he didn't even really have super powers. He just had like a super suit like Iron Man, you know, but not nearly as smart as Iron Man. Number 5 is, who is the worst villain ever? For me, that would be the Master of Vengeance. He was in a comic book with the Punisher and Spider-Man, like it was like a crossover. And all they did was make fun of his name the whole time, calling Mr. Veg-O-Matic and stuff like that. It was so funny. Yeah, such a cheesy villain. And number 6 is, what is your favorite comic book movie? That is a tough one, because there's a lot of good ones. But I'm going to pick Captain America Civil War, I think is my favorite comic book movie. And I love the comic, and I always thought the comic would make a great movie, and it certainly did. And I like it even better in the movie because it's more grounded. You got just the Avengers against each other, as opposed to like the whole Marvel universe in the comics. And it's such a great story, and it's handled so well in the movie, and it's just so intense when you see Captain America and Iron Man clash, and it's an epic battle at the end. And of course, you have that brilliant airport scene that's just like ripped straight from a comic book. It's insane. So awesome. Number 7, what is the worst comic book movie? For me, that would be Catwoman with Halle Berry. That was so bad. So inept, so horrible. It's not even Selena Kyle. And it's just, they just use the movie as an excuse to show how sexy Halle Berry looks in that Catwoman uniform. And you had Sharon Stone in there. She couldn't even save it. Nothing could save the terribleness of that movie. Number 8 is, what comic book would you like to see become a movie? I would like to see the Doom Patrol from DC Comics. I was surprised that they made Suicide Squad into a movie before Doom Patrol. I think Doom Patrol would have made a better movie, you know? So that's my pick. Number 9, what comic book versus movie would you like to see? I would like to see RoboCop versus the Terminator. That was a really cool comic. It was a really cool video game. I actually have that for Sega Genesis. I just think that would make a badass movie. RoboCop versus the Terminator. How cool. Number 10, what's your favorite Stan Lee cameo in a movie? For me, that's a tough one. But it's going to be Avengers Age of Ultron. I thought it was the most fun when the Avengers are having a party after they just kind of won a battle. So they're celebrating together, and Thor's making this drink which he says no mortal man could handle, you know? And Stan Lee's like this old World War II veteran. He's like, stop trying to scare us, Blondie. Get it over here. And he drinks it, and next scene he sees, like, blitzed, you know, he's like, Excelsior, you know. I love that. Classic. But he's had so many great cameos, hilarious. Another one would be Captain America Civil War, when he's the FedEx guy, and he's like, I got a package delivery for Tony Stank. Alright guys, so that's it for the comic book tag. So now it's my turn to tag some people, and I'm going to tag the Last Shoegazer, ANDREWBALLINA, Boogeyman Ben, Entertainment Fanatic Reviews, TheWickerBoy, LastVenom76 and Hey Internet Eric here. So guys, answer the call and do the comic book tag. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Sci-Fi Corner. Tune in and blast off.